As with anything, the pros and cons will come with it. Before we begin this video, it is a straightforward black and white video. So we wanted to ask our audience if you guys are for or against having VAR in football. Is it ruining our game or is it enhancing it? We shall dive into it, but we also want your balanced take, so shoot away in the comments. So let's talk about VAR. VAR means Video Assistant Referee, where the referee on the field is helped by a team of referees sitting in a room and monitoring the game via different screens. The communication is constant between the referee on the field and the referees sitting in the VAR room. VAR is there to help the referees come to a correct conclusion to a controversial incident in the game. Offsides, sending off or not, sparky incidents on the field, and clear errors by the refs on the field are just some of the examples of using the VAR system. The checks shouldn't take much time, and it is designed to not affect the flow of the game as the technology is fast and the decisions made via it are prompt. So, to remove the obvious mistakes from the game, VAR has been introduced, and it helps the refs come to a definitive and quick decision. But is it all hunky-dory with VAR in the last 5 years, or is it tearing apart the game we love? Like we said in the beginning, everything has its pros and cons. VAR is no different. While it has helped in making the right decisions, there have also been incidents where it has hindered the flow of the game. The pros of VAR. Of course, there are people out there backing VAR, otherwise it would have been defunct in the first couple of years. VAR was brought in to make the game we love smoother and less error-prone. And, to some extent, it has done its job. The offside calls have improved after the introduction of VAR. Even the tight ones are right because the technology allows you to see the clear picture and come to the right conclusion. It helps teams that hold their lines well and are rewarded by the right offside calls. It also takes away contentious offside goals and lengthy debates. The red card incidents have also been subjective and open to debate for a year, but the introduction of VAR allows the referee to look at the incident again through the monitor and come to the right conclusion. While earlier referees weren't afforded such luxury and had to rely on live play and assistance, VAR allows them the luxury to watch an incident again and make the right decisions. The violent conduct that is part of a red card incident is also a huge pro in favor of VAR. Earlier, if a player elbowed another player and if the ref or his assistants hadn't seen the incident, then the player could have gotten away with violent conduct. Of course, they would still get a retrospective ban, but the game that needed the swift decision is already over by then, and a sending off could have affected the outcome of the game. Penalties are also a pretty subjective subject. With the help of VAR, those decisions have become a bit more crystal clear. The refs monitoring the VAR system can go back and forth on their monitors and come to the right conclusion by helping the refs make the right decisions. There are different angles from which the refs can look at the incidents, and it helps them get a better perspective of the incident and hence make the right call. Goals and no goals. We have already talked about offside calls, but what if there is also handball involved in the build-up to the goal? Or if the ball has gone out of play in the build-up, or what if the goalkeeper is encroaching during a penalty? These all things are taken care of with the help of VAR. These are minute details that we sometimes miss during the build-up to a goal or during a penalty being taken. But the VAR refs keep an eye out for small details with their various cameras. The cons of VAR. Where shall we start? All the pros that we have stated are true, but only if the people sitting behind the technology know how to use it. VAR was brought in to make the game cleaner and smoother, but it has had quite a bit of an adverse effect on the game since its inception. VAR hasn't been the problem. It's the people running the VAR that have been the problem. And sometimes, granted, VAR has been the problem itself. It is still more man-made errors via VAR than VAR being a problem itself. Just take the Euros for example. The decisions have been swift and correct, but on the other hand, if you look at the Premier League games in the past few seasons, it seems like it takes ages to come to a right decision. VAR has taken the love of celebrating out of the game. It is a very valid point. Even if your team has scored a legit goal, you cannot celebrate a goal with full enthusiasm now because half your mind will be on VAR taking a second look at the goal because it is the norm now. There have been several tweets about how fans can't even celebrate a goal fully because of VAR. It takes several minutes to even conclude that the goal is legit. The time taken to conclude is VAR's biggest con. it takes ages for the VAR refs to come to a conclusion. Even if the decision is right in the end, the moment is gone for the fans. It shouldn't take several minutes to come to a decision. VAR was supposed to be swift, and it shouldn't take more than 15 seconds to come to a decision. The time factor is also ridiculous, when you think that the refs eventually add more time to a half, and that in turn makes the game even longer. The players are human, not machines. We now get a ridiculous amount of added time ranging from 6 to 10 minutes, just because VAR can't make quick decisions. While time-consuming is the biggest con of VAR, no one can debate the human error that the VAR decisions bring. Where do we even start with? In the Liverpool vs Tottenham game last year, Luis Diaz's perfectly legitimate goal was ruled out for offside when Diaz was a good couple of yards onside, and that was visible even with the naked eye. The explanation given was that the VAR ref thought that the goal was given on-field, and they asked the ref to stay with the on-field decision. The problem was that the on-field ref had given the goal as offside. Liverpool lost that game 2-1 in the end, and it impacted the result of the game. Just a month earlier, Wolves asked the Premier League to scrap VAR, and it even went to voting, but the other Premier League clubs shut down the idea, saying the people sitting behind VAR was the problem and not VAR itself. Wolves suffered from the most wrong calls by VAR last season, and Nottingham Forest even tweeted a long statement condemning a decision against them, and even went as far as saying they were looking to see if they can take any action against it. There has been an increased risk of injuries too with late offside calls. Connor Cody and goalkeeper Rui Patricio collided with each other when an obvious offside call wasn't given. What about Fernando Muslera suffering a double leg break after he collided with an opposition striker because of a delayed offside call? VAR has been more detrimental than helpful to our game, and it either needs to be bettered quickly or needs to be binned permanently. Whether you like it or not, VAR is here to stay. As we have already mentioned earlier, the technology isn't at fault, but the human error is. As the technology gets better, VAR will become more efficient. But again, the issue is with the people sitting behind the VAR. We already mentioned the Spurs vs Liverpool game. It was a clear onside goal that Liverpool scored and VAR agreed with it. But to save their faces, the VAR team did not release their decision or the lines required to prove Luis Diaz was onside because the whole officiating team messed up really badly. The semi-automated system used by the officials in the Champions League and currently in the 2024 Euros is very accurate and very fast as well. When you complicate simple things, that is when problems begin, and the use of the technology in the current Euros has been exemplary, bar the games officiated by the English referees, who by the way still think they are officiating in the Premier League because unnecessary controversies are good for grabbing eyeballs. The only way to use VAR is to just follow the simple methods that are already in place to be followed. The moment officials start zooming in and out unnecessarily, controversies begin. VAR is the future of the game, and it has shown real promise to hang around. We just need proper officials sitting behind the machines to operate it properly. What do you guys think about how VAR should be used? Or how else can you improve the usage of VAR? Do let us know down below. Cheers!